Welcome to SUSD Spotlight, your go-to source for all things happening within the district. Whether it's celebrating student and staff achievements, delving into trending education topics, or highlighting inspiring human interest stories, we've got you covered. Join us as we illuminate the incredible endeavors taking place in our schools and forge connections within our community. Get ready to be informed, inspired, and engaged as we embark on this journey together, spotlighting the extraordinary in SUSD. Welcome to another edition of SUSD Spotlight. Today we're excited to be highlighting Native American Heritage Month, and we're joined in studio by Sheila Cepress, our Director of Native American Programming, and Ashley Perea, who is at Coronado High School. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to begin by asking you both to talk a little bit about your educational journeys and what brought you to the positions you currently hold in Scottsdale Unified. Sheila, would you like to start?
Well, my education was basically not geared to education. It was basically computer engineering. And I burnt myself out, took a sabbatical, got married, and just kind of landed into this position, not physically here, but I was actually working for McDonald's Corporation. I just opened up one of their stores out in Benson, Arizona. Was an assistant manager, and then my husband was a teacher in Marana School District and found a room with a bunch of boxes marked Indian education. Didn't know what it was about. He asked, and they said they couldn't find someone to work the program. So he encouraged me to do that, and I said, well, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to get it. I have no educational background. And next thing you know, I went in for my interview, got the job by the afternoon, gave my 2-week notice. That's what started off my passion for this, because even as a high school student or anything, I was never involved with Native programs.
And how long have you been in Scottsdale?
I have been in Scottsdale for 28 years and a year in Marana.
That's impressive. Tell us about your background, Ms. Perea.
Yeah, so I attended ASU. I got a political science and history degree, and I realized probably can't do much with that. And so then I started my graduate program to get my secondary master's in education. And with that, I also was working at Salt River Elementary School right here at the SRPMIC at their tribal school, the federal school, the BIE, and did that for 3 years as a reading interventionist. And that kind of got my foot in the door to go more into secondary. And once I was certified, I jumped over to the high school, which was Salt River High School, and taught 6 years there as a middle school social studies teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was great, learned a lot. Unfortunately, the school ended up closing due to failing grades. And but other than that, I still kept a relationship with a lot of the families and students. And I took a break, too, from teaching, just because we all know we might need a break, especially middle school. And I ended up coming into Scottsdale. I actually currently live in Scottsdale. I've been living there for the last 15 years. And I got a job. Well, I applied for a job at Coronado because it specifically said a specialist for Native American students. And I've always wanted to work with Native students. I myself am Navajo, and even I went to school on reservation and off reservation. So I know the dynamic of how you're a small fish in a big pond versus how you are kind of lost in an all-white school, because I grew up in Cottonwood, Arizona. And then even ASU, and how the support I needed to have people to tutor me, mentor me, and just encourage me basically that I can do this. And so I thought that was great. I wanted to be that, and teaching just became one of my places where I feel like I can reach most Native students. So I've been at Coronado for 6 years.
So how many Native students do we have in Scottsdale, and what tribes are represented?
We currently have 457. That's at the end of our September count. And what that does not reflect the other number of Native students who are also listed as Hispanic or 2 or more.
Okay.
And with that particular number, we have 808 students within our district.
So Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community is next door, but we have a lot of tribes represented. Correct?
Yes, we have Navajo, we have San Carlos Apache, White Mountain Apache, we have Choctaw, we have some Alaskan tribes, we've got Lumbee, Quechan, you can go on and on and on. So we have a very nice variety.
Can you describe for us what the Native American Education Program is in Scottsdale Unified and the ways it supports our students?
Well, this program, when I first came on 28 years ago, no one knew what to do with it. So I brought what I used to do in Marana to the school district and just kind of built it from there. We tried to do a lot of support for the kids, help the high school students paying for their high school class fees. We encouraged them to do dual enrollment. We're encouraging them to go. My main goal was getting them into college bridge programs because we were not seeing our kids going beyond barely even graduating high school, because when I came on board, graduation rate was barely around 50%. So if you look at our numbers now, we're basically around in the 90s. So we're actually doing really well. And if you do very individual schools, we're 90, 100% in our cohorts. So we're doing really well. But we needed to move beyond that. Now that we got them figuring out going to high school, now let's have them think about college. And a few years ago, we were very fortunate. In 3 years in a row, we had 3 students, 2 from Coronado and 1 from Arcadia, that were able to have their associate's degree before they even got their high school diploma.
That's remarkable.
So, we really encourage that. We are even looking in the workforce because some kids have told us, I'm not that person that's going to go to college. I'm not going to do this. So we're looking at, like, go to Gateway Community College, go into HVAC, do, hands-on, because that's what they are. They're hands-on. And we had a student last summer that just flat out told me, he said, I am not going to go to college. That's not me. I'm struggling as it is. And my other staff person from Arcadia was there, and she asked him, she said, have you thought about going into HVAC? It's a very good field. We live in Arizona. You're always going to have a job. And he never thought about that. So he's now looking at that. He was like, wow, I never even I always thought just going to college. And I said, no. And I tease him and tell him, well, you guys got to work because you got to support me in my old age.
It sounds like a big component of this is the mentorship and additionally the building of community.
Yes. Our kids are our kids. We treat them like our own. We try to be that mother, the auntie. Sometimes we're the dads and the uncles along with it. So, we do build that community. We have a strong relationship with our families. Our families know who to come to. A lot of them have the traumatic history from the boarding schools that happened to their parents, their grandparents. So, and as you saw, Biden was going to be doing the apology. So that's something that our families are looking at too. So, times are changing. So we're hoping for the better.
So when you talk about creating community, I know at Coronado High School you have a CHANT Club. Can you tell us a little bit about what CHANT stands for and what the club does?
Absolutely. So CHANT stands for Coronado High Alliance of Native Tribes. This club has been around since the 1980s. Actually, just recently I talked to our bookstore manager and she showed me a yearbook of CHANT Club in 1980. But this club, it's more of a community where Indigenous students can come and share their culture, make friends, but also just be proud of, like, hey, I am Indigenous, I'm here at Coronado. And I feel that continuing its tradition since the past, it's been a lot, but it's been great because a lot of kids can proudly say that, hey, I'm a part of CHANT. This is what CHANT's doing. Oh, we're doing, like all the different events that they look forward to and want to be a part of voluntarily. And even parents, I have parents that actually help out. They will donate. They will show up to our community events. And I think it's just important because South Scottsdale community with the CHANT Club has just been a very significant piece of a lot of our alumni parents that have actually gone through Coronado. So they're happy to see that CHANT's continuing. So, yeah.
I think a lot of people are not aware of all of the tribes. I think there are, 22 federally recognized tribes in the state of Arizona, and we service a number of students from those backgrounds. How important is it for students to connect with their cultural history?
It is very important, not just for the fact of identity, but it's also if they connect with their tribes, they can receive scholarships and get some financial help for them to go on to college. But a lot of kids, I related a lot to them because I grew up in a town. I never grew up on a reservation. I didn't grow up in a culture. I mean, unless you look at my Hispanic culture, but I really didn't have that. So a lot of the kids that here in Scottsdale were the same way. They were not going outside of a 5-mile radius. That was not their thing. So for us to expose them to other programs, other cultures, and I love the fact that, with all the powwows and things that happen in our little
Right.
neck of the woods here, they get to experience that. They get to see what a jingle dance is, what a shawl dance is, hoop dancing. So
And how do we help other students who are not Native learn the culture and understand the deep and rich history of the Native tribes from Arizona?
I think just November in itself is an important month that we should continue to recognize for Native Americans, because Native American Heritage Month actually symbolize how we as Native people, we're not relics, we're not ancient anymore. We're here and present, and we're now. And this is what we're doing now. This is what we're doing for our tribe and our language, is because right now a lot of Indigenous people are rising up into leadership positions, artist positions, movie positions, like very high publicized roles. And our Indigenous students see that. And I believe it's just great for us now. We can tell our story. We can share our background, our beliefs, how it is like to live on a reservation, how it's not like to live on a reservation
Right,
at the same time, but all universally we're together, and we want to be able to educate people, about what tribe we are and what that means, and have others, non-natives, to participate in the events too. And that's what CHANT does too. You don't have to be Native American to join. All are welcome as long as they appreciate culture.
Well, that's really important. One of the things that our board did a few years ago was to adopt a land acknowledgement.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that everyone understands what a land acknowledgement is and why it's important.
Well, the importance of having a land acknowledgement is to acknowledge the ancestors of the people that were here before us. So in our case, we like to acknowledge the Peepash people, the Acoma people, the Otham people, because they were the ones that were here before us. My ancestral homelands is not here, so we need to pay homage to them, to this, and because the group is still around. So that's why when we talked about having a land acknowledgement, we partnered with our Salt River Pima tribe
Right.
to ask them about putting one together. And that was showing respect to them, that we know this is their land. We should feel honored to be here, because Scottsdale, no matter what it says on the deed, it belongs to Scottsdale, but it does really not belong to Scottsdale. It belongs to the ancestors of our neighbors that are near us.
And I've read, tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but I've read that from a Native American cultural perspective, ownership of the land was a foreign concept, because this is a
Yes.
shared resource that we've got stewardship responsibility over, right?
Yes. As you know, I'm sure you probably heard, and I didn't even know this until a few years ago. I kept hearing people calling our United States, the turtle land.
Right.
Or, turtle country, turtle land. And I was like, we're not a turtle. What are they talking about? And then I finally realized the turtle way was very ancestral way. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. So now I look at turtles and hear turtles totally different now. I think of that like, yeah, I guess we are kind of like a turtle. We're on the turtle's back. That's where we're at now. So it's kind of an interesting.
So my understanding is that during our celebration of Native American Heritage Month, we have a special event planned. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, I want to, first of all, thank the board and to you for stepping up and wanting to do this again. I did one 2 years ago. It was our first one. We were all scared because we didn't know what we were doing. I know you even were kind of nervous because I made you do the land acknowledgement, and you were like, I can't pronounce some of these words. I go, just apologize ahead of time. But we were actually, we couldn't do one the second year, which would have been last year because of funding. It comes from our grant. That's where I pulled it from. But this year, we are planning another one with the help of Dr. Menzel. So we're planning a special one on Thursday, November the 14th at 6 to 7:30. All are welcome, not just our Native community, but our SUSD community. Even our neighbors, we're also inviting them. So we are having a performance. Yellowbird dancers will be performing, so they will be there. I have a special little showcase that I am not revealing until that night. I think you will enjoy it, so I just want to invite everyone to come to that. And another big push that, as for myself, I really want to really inform parents and community, please attend our SUSD Expo, because I will be talking about our program and what we do and so forth. But you get to learn about all the other programs that we offer in our district. So kind of excited about that.
It's neat, too, to see all the different ways the heritage is celebrated in our district, from the school names, but even last year with the graduation ceremony. That was so special.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that, how that took shape and maybe plans for the future?
Sure.
Actually, how it all started really was the other staff person that we have. She actually at one point a few years ago did that for the Native students at Coronado. And she was working with a security guard. I knew nothing about this, that they were doing this. She never mentioned it. So she's the one that started making the stoles for them. It was just basically just for the Native kids at Coronado. And then when Ashley came on board, it expanded. And then last year, both the ladies came and said they wanted to do this for across the district. So Ashley and I worked together. She bought a couple of things of the Pendleton blanket, which is what is used, from her club money. I was able to purchase 2 from one of our grants, and they started working on the stoles. And Ashley, I let her take the lead on doing the convocation, getting that ready, because sometimes I can't do everything. So it's great having a great team to help. But I'm going to have Ashley talk about how she came with this concept.
Miss Sherry Sosi, when I first arrived at Coronado, she quickly was like, "Oh, you're Navajo." I'm like, "Yes, yat And ever since then, she's been really excited to partner with me for building Chant up, and even talking about the Pendleton stoles and how other districts do this. It's true. Mesa, Phoenix, wow. And, why not us? So from Chant's purpose of fundraising, we said, hey, let's raise money to buy a Pendleton stole with Chant funds. And we were able to the first time. And this was during the year after COVID. All right. And so we were able to honor the stingers, putting a Pendleton on their necks on class of 2021. And then after that, it just snowballed, not in a good way, where kids saw that and they want the Pendleton stoles. You only get it if you graduate, and
This has to mean so much to the students and the families. I mean, it meant a lot to us being there for this, and the video is beautiful too. Emilio did a great job putting that together. I know it's online, so
and I took the lead because at Salt River High School, I helped with the 8th grade promotion. So I was very familiar with putting an event together, having parents help out, and even not just the Pendleton stoles, but even graduation. So it was I know it's a big deal. And if we're wanting to, having an increase of Native students, Scottsdale has to do this. It's such a great opportunity, to bridge any types of thoughts or any type of negative thought that Scottsdale School District has towards Native people. No, we're culturally recognized. This district will culturally recognize our Indigenous students.
And the student speakers were impressive, and 2 or 3 of them, as I recall, were heading to Stanford and to other places, and they'll make their mark in the world. It's just really a powerful testament to their resilience, determination, and success, and what a great way to celebrate them.
Yes. We are very proud of our students. Like I said in my speech at the end, is that they will forever be in our SUSD Native family. So
Absolutely. So when you think about the future of Native American education here in Scottsdale, what do you see on the horizon?
I see it as a legacy I will pass on. No, just kidding. I would like to retire some days, but anyway, I see it more, they're going to be more inclusive. They don't feel that just as yet. We need to still continue doing the olive branch. We still need to promote them. We need to acknowledge them. Even at sports, we need to know how many kids are in sports, because they blend in. I just found this out from another school at Hopi, from a parent, that her child did on Indigenous Peoples Day, when we came back after fall break, she did a presentation about her culture. And her mom didn't know. How she found out was at a conference. And I asked her, said, why didn't she let us know? We would have been glad to promote that. And she said, I, as a mother, didn't even know that. I found out later. And I said, what prompted her to do this? Was this her teacher? And she said, no, my daughter said, I want to go and I want to teach my fellow kids, because everyone sees me and they just think I'm white. But I also am Native. I have this heritage, this culture I'm proud of. So I'm anxious to see this presentation. I want to look at it and see, because I'm like, it gave me goosebumps. I literally was like almost crying on the phone when I'm talking to this parent. And I said, now, when you're talking of a 5th grade doing this, You know, that's not the only child in this district that feels that. So there's got to be other kids thinking, you know, why does everyone think I'm Mexican, or why does everyone think I'm, you know, Asian, or I'm African American, things like that. So they need to, you know, I have to keep reminding people we all don't look like each other. Like, you know, I mean, Ashley and I, we don't look like each other. You know, everyone, yeah, we both have dark hair, but that's about as far as you're ever really going to get. You know, our cultural backgrounds are totally different.
And the best way to address stereotypes is to have a conversation, to get to know where people are from and understand their background, and not make an assumption if someone's Navajo and someone Pasquayaki that's the same thing.
Can I want to add on to that. I really think that just to help the district out is maybe to have a professional come and do sensitivity training, like to the teachers, you know, for the culturally, to just be to inform them about the cultural belief systems that Native people have. For example, the eclipse was happening. And for Navajo tribe, it was like, we can't go outside. You know, we have to, you know, in a sense, that's like a traditional religious type of thing. So having someone to go around and speak with teachers just to let them know, like, even in biology, some kids can't touch reptiles. They can't touch dead things. But in biology, you got to dissect, you know? So it's just like letting them know, like, just, hey, this is just letting you know kind of a thing. And also, too, like, would like to see the land acknowledgement, since it's been at a district level, be posted into schools. That'd be really, really great for parents and tribal members to see when they go enroll their child in SUSD. Oh, they have a land acknowledgement. Hey, you know, like, I think that would be something very, very, just something small.
Right. Small things can go a long way, though.
Exactly.
Acknowledging the
like,
heritage that's here.
Yeah, and like Sheila said, extend the olive branch, you know, and, you know, if there's just that acknowledging, you know, respecting, yes, you know, we are a school that allows this cultural, not just acknowledgement, but also a cultural understanding for your child to be here.
And we want those messages that say you belong.
Exactly.
Because that's our commitment here in Scottsdale, is that every child belongs. And so it's not only a signal to our Native students that they belong here, but it's also a signal to other students, an opportunity to learn about the culture.
Exactly.
Yes. And a large part of the community doesn't even realize how diverse the district is.
Exactly.
And additionally, how inclusive the district is. And so that messaging goes a long way.
Yeah. It would be a big deal for me. Like, even getting hired, you know, in Scottsdale School District, like, do they acknowledge, and, you know, like, so something small can go a long way. And I'll be very appreciative.
I'm truly grateful for the work that both of you do in support of our Native students here in Scottsdale. At the end of every podcast, I like to ask my guests if there's a teacher in their life that made a difference or a significant impact. We like to celebrate those individuals, and I'd like to give you both an opportunity to identify someone that you would like to recognize today.
Of course.
Are you looking for someone within our district or just a personal?
Someone in your life, any person that you would like to give a shout out to.
Mine was my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Salas. She was, to this day, I wonder whatever happened to her because, you know, she got married, and we watched her when she got married and when she had her baby. So, but, you know, she was the one that I remember she treated us all equally, all of us kids. It didn't matter what background we were. So, but I just loved her. She was very patient with us. If we didn't, there was times I had problems with something I didn't understand because my mind was like thinking a totally different thing than what she wanted. But she took the time and stayed after school, stayed late, talked to my parents. And, you know, I don't know, I just felt that motherly. And I always loved that. And when I moved on, I was like, I wish I had that same teacher. And, you know, I don't know where she's at to this day, but I've been asked that before, like, who is that one teacher in your life? And I'm like, Mrs. Salas. You know, she was the one.
Thank you for sharing that,
Great.
Ashley.
Mine is actually, her name is Mrs. Kitchen. She was the Native American coordinator at my school at Mingus in Cottonwood. And funny thing, I just saw her in AU for the Indigenous Spirit Day. And she's still doing exactly what she did when I was a high schooler. It's amazing. But I think of her because I remember thinking, like, wow, what a cool job she has. You know, thinking like, oh my gosh, who would have known I would be in a position close to that, you know? But I just saw how much she cared for the kids. I remember how she would pull me out of my shell. She actually helped me with my college applications, and I applied for a Yavapai Apache Ambassador Scholarship, and with her help, I received it. Like, she was the type of woman, and that's what I realized, like, wow, her and her, like, patience.
Yes.
Just the patience part to help me with these step-by-step processes I mean, she was just a great lady. I'm so glad to still see her doing what she's still doing, like 20 or so years later, right? And I'm glad I'm doing that position too, like to help out our students to take the next step, because I know how it feels like.
Well, those are powerful stories. And the truth is that you are that for so many of our students now. So thank you on behalf of our students that you're investing in their lives and helping them become successful.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this edition of SUSD Spotlight. We hope that you will join us. You can find us on susd.org/spotlight or any other streaming platform. And we hope that you'll pitch us ideas for future episodes.